Welcome to Worldwide Hustler. This is Matt Albert here for your health, wealth, and happiness. And today we're going to be talking about buying a house 101. What do you have to do to buy a house? What does it take? Interest rates are as low as 2.8%. And even for an investment property, they're down to 3.5%. So without further delay, roll the footage. Okay, we're back. So what we're going to do is let's go and get you started to buy this house. If you've never bought a house before, it can be nerve-wracking. So by watching this video, I hope I can take some of this nervousness out of you and make it a little bit more streamlined. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about what do you need to do first before you do anything. Before you even walk out your front door to go look at a house or get on the internet and start searching on Zillow. So the first thing I've got is your debt to income ratio. Your debt to income ratio is exactly that. How much debt do you have, right, to income? And this is going to be your ratio. Now most lenders, most banks are looking at about anywhere from 36 to 45%. So anywhere from 36 to 45%. Now I'm going to tell you, the lower this is, banks like that. You're going to be able to basically get yourself a better loan that way. That's one of the ways to get yourself a good loan. And also, you don't want to have too much debt. You don't want to buy a house and then turn around and make your first payment and it's going to be hard on you. Okay? Next thing you want to do is, what is your credit score? A good score, obviously nowadays, I would say probably anything above 700, definitely you're going to be good to go. I can tell you right now, the higher your credit score is, the better your interest rate's going to be. So, and that's going to save you a lot of money in the long run because you're going to be paying on this thing for 30 years. So a good score, obviously, I would say anything above, well, 700 is good, but 760 on up is really getting good. Okay. Another thing we're going to talk about is number 3, pre-approval. Okay. A lot of people talk about the pre-approval process way later. I'm going to talk about it now because you're not buying. There's no reason to go look at a house and find something that you really truly like and then find out that you can't buy it because you're not pre-approved. So what you want to do is just basically find you a lender and get pre-approved. And while you're at it, you can get up to, I know for at least 3 in a 2-week period, you can get pretty much as many credit checks as you possibly can, basically looking for a good lender. So I would say at least get 3 bids on a mortgage at this point. And if you do it and it's all within a 2-week period, it doesn't affect your credit score. You got 1 hit on it, and the lenders and other banks, they know this. The FICO score is not going to be affected. And this is going to help you find yourself a better interest rate for your loan and get pre-approved. So if you're pre-approved for, let's say, $250,000, then you know what your limit is. You know that you can find, if you're looking at houses anything above $250,000, you're not going to be able to buy unless you can haggle the score price down on them. But you want to know what you're pre-approved for so you can start looking right now. Okay, so this is the first step. Okay, the next thing we're going to be looking at is, once you find you a house, you're going to be looking at obviously the price. Now, when you buy a house, you're going to have a payment. And your payment's going to consist of your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And they call this the PITI. They call this the PITI, P-I-T-I. So you have your principal, your interest, your taxes, and insurance. Okay, and in some cases, some neighborhoods, they do charge a homeowners association fee. So these are the guys that make sure everybody cuts their grass and they don't have cars out there on blocks, and they want to make the neighborhood look presentable at all times. So they do. Some of them have an HOA fee. But what you want to do is you want to have all of this added up. And once you have up your payment, your total payment for the house, it's best to keep that below, less than 30%. Okay? You want your payment to be less than 30%. Don't buy more house than you can afford, is what I'm telling you. Because the minute you buy this house, that's it. Buying a house, it can be fun, but at the same time, owning a house is not cheap. So, but just make sure that it's about 30%. If your income for the month is, let's say, let's just say, what is it, 5,000. If your income for the month is $5,000, okay, then you do not want your payment, total payment with everything, to be more than $1,500, okay, 30%. That's what I'm trying to tell you, okay? Okay, the next on the list is your total investment. And what I'm talking about here is what do you have to have at the closing? So once you find your house, you figure out how much your payments are going to be, and you've been pre-approved and everything. Okay, now you're going to have a pretty good idea when you come to the closing, what is it going to take? The first thing that makes up your total investment at the closing is going to be your down payment. So your down payment, if you're going to go conventional and just get a regular loan, they're going to be 20%. 20%. So if you're buying a $200,000 house, then you're looking at $40,000. Okay? This is for your down payment. Now there are cases, let's say that, because I'm military, so I mean, if I went and got my VA loan, I could pretty much get in with no money down. Or if you're going to go FHA, there's other ways that you can use to get a lower payment, down payment. Like an FHA, I believe, is around 3.5% down payment, which would be a lot less than 40,000 to 20%. But just remember, banks, they don't like that. I mean, they'll do it, but if it's less than 20% down, then they're going to charge you what is called, I'm going to make that number 3, a private mortgage insurance, a PMI. And your PMI is roughly going to be a tiny percentage, but it's every month. So you're looking at around 50, 80, 100, 120 bucks a month added to your mortgage payment. And that's if you put down less than 20%. Okay? PMI. Now, the next thing that's going to be part of your total investment besides your down payment is going to be your closing cost. Closing cost, it depends on where you're at in the country. If you're in California, they're going to be a lot higher. If you're, let's say, down in Texas, in that area, they're going to be a lot less. But anywhere from, I would say, 1 to 5% of the purchase price of the house, roughly, is going to be your closing cost. So I would, if I was you, I would save around, I would have at least 3%. So if you're looking at a $200,000 house, I would have at least $6,000 in your savings set aside for your closing cost. And then again, you have your down payment. So all of this together is going to be your total investment, what you're going to have to come up with when you're at the closing. The next thing you need to figure out is if you're going to use a realtor. Now just remember, you're the buyer. The realtor is paid from the seller. So when you come to the closing, you're going to buy your property. Once the money's exchanged and the seller receives the money for the property, and you're going to be getting the property, well, when they get the money, they have to pay the realtor. So if they have a realtor and you have a realtor, then the real estate commission is going to be split between those two. But the seller is going to be the one paying for that. So what I'm trying to get at is that it's not a bad idea to say yes and get yourself a realtor. The reason why is because a realtor is going to look out for your interest. They're going to be looking out for you. Whereas if you don't have a realtor and you just go up to another realtor and you're like, hey, I'm trying to, I'm looking for a house, and they say, oh, I got a lot of houses over here that I'm selling. They're selling. So they're representing somebody else. Now they're not going to be mean or anything to you, but they're looking out for their seller. So if you find yourself a realtor, they're looking out for you, and they get paid when you buy a house. So they're going to really be working for you, right? This is a good thing. So I would definitely go with using a realtor. And also there's a lot of paperwork involved when they start doing the contracts, and if there's a counter offer, and it's best to have a realtor because they know the properties in that area. They know your area. So get a realtor. The next thing on the list is your criteria. So at this point, you need to figure out what is important to you when you're looking at your house. Because remember, you're not only buying a house, but you're buying the neighborhood. So are you looking at does it matter to you if the schools are really top notch in that area? I mean, if maybe your kids are graduated and moved on, or what have you, I don't know. Or maybe you have brand new kid, you have a baby, and you're going to stay there for a while. You want good schools. I know for a fact schools are a big deal with a lot of people. So they'll be willing to pay the price to live in a nicer neighborhood to get near those schools. Also, what about suburbs? Do you want to live in the city? Do you want to live in the suburbs on the out? Do you want to just drive into work every day and kind of not be in the city? Or maybe you want to live in a city and you don't want to have a car and you just want to get on a bicycle and just go to work every day that way. I mean, so you need to figure out what your criteria is when it comes to this. Another thing is we're going to talk about is deal killers. What is a deal killer for you? Like for me, I'm going to tell you right now, this house I'm showing you right here, okay? This is the house that we just got rid of and we sold. I mean, we didn't get rid of it because we didn't want it, but we moved. It's a very nice house. And I can tell you right now, my wife, a deal killer for her, she wants to have a living room that's opened up and it just blends right in with the kitchen. She wants that big open kitchen and everything. And if she doesn't get it, she's not going to be happy. And if mama's not happy, nobody's happy. So that's the deal killer for us. So when I'm looking at the next house, I have to see that has to be there. Or maybe you're looking for, maybe you want a hot tub in the master bath. Maybe this is the deal killer. Or maybe you want a shop. Maybe you want a shop out in the back, where you can do, put a gym inside of, or make a man cave, or have it for storage or something. Maybe you want a swimming pool. I mean, there's a ton of things. Maybe you're actually looking one that sits on a 3-acre plot of land so you can put in a pond or something. So these are going to be your deal killers. So some of the things you could probably do without. It's up to you. But if it's a real stickler and you have to have it, then that's something you want to have up here and not forget about when you're looking at houses. Okay, we're getting ready to, we found the house, we've been pre-approved, we know how much money we can loan, or we can borrow on the house. We found a nice neighborhood, it's got everything we want, there's no deal killers. Now you come to you're gonna make an offer. And it actually, you see this and you're like, well, this isn't, I can do this. But when you actually make the offer, it's kind of like, it kind of touches you a little bit. You're like, I'm making an offer. So that's a good thing to have. It keeps you on your toes, right? Inspection. I always make an offer contingent upon you inspecting the property. Because if you go there and you make an offer and you don't have something like this, they call it a contingency. This is just a contingency. An inspection is just a contingency. So I will buy the house for this much money contingent upon the inspection, right? So you're going to go inspect it and approve of it. You might see something that you don't like or something like that, and that way it can pretty much help you get out of the deal. Now here is your earnest money. Now the earnest money is basically your serious money. This is basically telling the seller that you are serious about the property. And the property, think about it like this. You're the one selling, let's say. You're trying to sell a property, and I come to you and I say, yeah, it looks pretty good. I think I want to buy that. Well, what makes you think that I'm serious? Okay, money. That's what makes you think. Then you know that I'm serious. Once I put down some money and I put it into an account and then they have that set aside, now you know that, hey, I really want this property. Earnest money can be anywhere from, let's say, maybe $1,000, or I've even heard of cases up to, let's say, $3,000 to $5,000. I think the last property we bought, I put about $3,000 into it. And anyway, the bottom line is that at the closing, this earnest money goes towards the purchase price of the house. So you don't lose it or anything like that. It's your money. So, but earnest money, serious money. Now down here, they're going to either accept your offer, they're either going to reject it, or they're going to make a counter. If they counter, countering kind of gets a little tedious, because you could say, okay, for a $250,000 house, I'll give you $250,000, but I want you, the seller, to pay my closing cost. And then the seller can come back and say, well, you know what? I don't know about that. If you pay $255,000, a little bit more, then I got your closing costs covered. I'll pay them. So, and then it starts to kind of like a tennis match back and forth. So, good old counter offer. Now, if you have a realtor, like I said, he or she will help you decide and kind of figure out where to go with this and help you make your counter offers. Okay, next on the list, we have appraisal and we have inspection. And don't get these two confused. They're different. They're very different. Your appraisal, okay, you went to get pre-approved, all right? That lender that you're using, they will be the ones to order the appraisal. So they're going to order the appraisal with the realtor that's working for the seller, okay? They will get an appraisal on the property to find out how much the property is worth. And they will go through comparables. If it's commercial property, they use square footage, how much money per square footage or other properties going for that same amount. And for the 10,000 square foot building, they compare those. So, but with the single family homes, it's normally comparables. You can use the square footage approach if you want. but they're going to look at other properties that sold recently in the last 2 to 3 months that are the same. So if you're looking at a 3-bedroom 2-bath, that's what they're looking at. But anyway, the appraisal is going to tell you the value of the property, and your lender that you're getting the money from, borrowing the money from, they will order that. Your inspection now, that's different. That's where somebody's going to come and they're going to inspect the property to see what's wrong with it. Is there anything wrong? Because when you drive by and you look at it from the street, you're like, wow, that looks really cool. But then upon a little bit further, you do some due diligence, you find out that there's some shingles missing up on the roof, the concrete's cracked, the paint around the outer house is it's in bad shape, it needs painting. Maybe the hot water heater is messed up or something. So these are things that you can use to your advantage. You can use these to lower the price of the house, or you can get a credit. So you can tell the seller, hey, it needs an $8,000 paint job, and also this concrete's going to cost me $3,000 to fix. So there's $11,000. And also other things that they're going to look at are going to be like termite inspections, any kind of mold that's growing. And think about it, with mold and things and termites, you can't really see those. Those are latent defects. So these inspections, they're going to do a really good thorough inspection. The guy will come out and he might spend the whole day there. Depends on how big the house is. But if there is something wrong with the inspection, it will help you at the table and save you some money and give you a bargaining chip, if you will. Okay, the next one we're going to talk about is the walkthrough. So once the seller, if you can get it this way, once the seller is out of the house and they move out and there's nothing there, it's an empty house, now you can do your walkthrough and go through it yourself and put your eyes on the property. If it's got a full, basement down below, full finished basement, go down there, look around. Look for the radon meter. Make sure the radon meter is there. Look at the hot water heater. Just look for things, even if you're not a mechanical inclined person or you don't you're not a construction worker or something. Just look for things that don't look right. I mean, if you see a spot in the corner and it's kind of dark looking, or you see the sides of the door that are kind of messed up and bashed in or something. I mean, maybe the seller, when they were moving out, maybe they damaged the property. Maybe poke your head into the attic and look for sunlight coming through the roof. Maybe there's a hole in the roof or something. Look for some lush green grass outside. Maybe there's a leak down below in the septic tank. So do a walkthrough and find out what you can about the property if you can. And another good thing is the property I showed you a while ago, our house that we sold not very long ago. When we first bought that property, it's a big house. It's a 2-story with a full finished basement. There were I think 15 different keys. And I remember when the realtor gave us the keys, I had no clue. I was like, what does this go to? So find these things out. Ask the realtor, say, okay, what do all these keys go to? Okay. We had a hot tub in our master bath. So the house actually had 2 hot water heaters. Honestly, I did not know that. It had one bigger one for the house and then a smaller one for the hot tub. So I did not know this. Also, landscaping lights. All right, I'm just going to put land for landscaping. All right, landscaping lights. I didn't know how to set those and all that stuff, and also the type of lights. Where did the seller buy them from? Where was he ordering them from? Because those things were there was a lot of them on the outside of the house, and when they started to burn out, I started to have to go through and look for them, and then kind of do some due diligence to find out where they were coming from. These lights. Let me see what else. The landscaping lights. Yeah, and also if it's got a radon meter, you want to know about that. And also with the hot tub, we did have a hot tub I mentioned. So, but guess what? It was you think, well, I know how to operate in a hot tub. Not really. They're all different. So you might want to figure all these things out. Is there a manual for it? Get the manual on it. Same with the landscaping lights. Is there any manuals? What about the garage door openers? I mean, has there been any? Kind of just look at all this stuff is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, for your walkthrough. All right, congratulations. You are now the owner of a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, beautiful home. So congratulations. Now on closing day, you want to make sure that there's going to be documents. There's going to be closing documents. They're going to give you you're almost going to need a forklift to take this stuff out of there. There's a lot of paperwork there. But keep this paperwork and file it. When you get home, if you don't have a file cabinet, go to Walmart, go to Costco, go somewhere, buy you a file cabinet and put this stuff in there. Keep it in the folder. Okay, this is going to have all your amortization schedule on it, your closing documents, all these pieces of paper that are very, very important. And check through that and make sure that your interest rate is what they quoted you. If the lender said, hey, we're going to give you a 2.8% interest rate, then make sure that it says on that, because you can see that at the closing. And if there's something something wrong, and it might be a mistake on their part. It might be an error that they messed up on it. It's not like they did this on purpose. You can't assume that. And then that way you can fix that, because you don't want the paperwork to be messed up and your payment's going to be higher for the next 30 years for no reason, right? So anyway, closing date. Now you are the proud owner and you did it. Look at this guy. This is you. You are a homeowner. Yay! Congratulations. And if this is going to be your first home ever, I give you a big congratulations on that one. So I hope this video helped you guys out in some way, shape, or form. If you would, put down in the comment section if you are a first-time buyer. I'd be interested to know this. And if there are any other questions that you might have on buying a piece of property, please let me know. I'd appreciate that. And share this video with somebody you like. Smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. And I will see you the next time.